Oh, boy.
Where do we go from here? 2 matches in. Were you enjoying the show?
So far, so good, because, again, it's moving along. The matches are good. There's some level of interest, not only from the people, but from me. So things are moving along swimmingly. And then I see the first one that I actually was looking forward to seeing, my boy Theory for the U.S. title, Bobby Lashley and Theory. And I'm wondering if basically after seeing the entirety of this show, if Vince being gone is detrimental to one guy particularly. Because Theory, I mean, was there a popcorn vendor available to kick the shit out of him before he left the building? Because everybody else did.
We've been saying it now on the show for 3 weeks, just based off the TV. This is now the pay-per-view. But I don't know if it's as simple as Vince isn't there to protect him and Vince's people aren't protecting him, or what it could be. Again, Triple H signed him to NXT originally, but it certainly seems like they're trying to teach him a lesson or something.
Well, and that's the thing is, Theory seems to me to be more like a guy that Triple H would like, his work and his overall presentation, than Vince would, because Theory struck me when I first saw him as an incredibly natural worker who does mentally know and see in his head what this shit's supposed to look like, and his body does go with the flow, mentally, without having to sit and study on it, and he gets the little things and a blah, blah, blah. He's a natural worker. You would think Triple H would be fired up more about him than Vince would, and since Vince has been gone, people have just been wailing the fuck out of Theory. Just beating him like a rented mule. So, and this was no different. And before the bell, Lashley's up on the turnbuckles, and Theory comes from behind and just wears him out with the briefcase, right? And in front of the referee, who does nothing, because now they've got a thing in all the companies, apparently, where if the fucking heel jumps the babyface, or even if they just get in a fight, but especially when the heel jumps the babyface, that used to be the jump start, the bell would ring, and here they go with the match. Well, now, because some idiot in modern wrestling said, well, wait a minute. If we don't ring the bell, then the heel can do all this dirty stuff, but the referee can't disqualify him because the match hasn't started yet. So now, instead of a jump start and a bell, and we kick off with some action and a grudge match, it's the heel jumps the babyface, beats the holy shit out of him, does numerous illegal things that would qualify as a goddamn disqualification, but it can't be a DQ because the referee hadn't rung the bell yet. So then, imagine this in any other kind of sport, competition, endeavor, or anything. Once the guy's had the shit kicked out of him by his opponent, and then the referee will, and the opponent just stops, then the referee will ask the guy that's had the shit kicked out of him, well, you want to go through with this? And if he says yes, the referee rings the bell, and then they start the match from there. When did they come up with, has this been the last 5 years or so?
I guess
so. Started seeing this?
I don't know when we first saw it. I guess the question is, if you could do all that stuff before the match and it doesn't count towards the match, would it count towards criminal prosecution if it's happening before an actual match?
One would think. Or at least it would cause the referee to call off the goddamn match and potentially fine or suspend the heel for doing that.
You know, I saw that happen once at the WCW show at the Paramount in '93, the first show they had ever done at the Paramount outside of Madison Square Garden, or attached to Madison Square Garden. And they had Chris Benoit versus Ron Simmons. And they came out there, and for like 2 minutes, they had the place finally going crazy. And the New York State Athletic Commission called off the match. Because of
why? What?
The brawling around ringside.
Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, this match was not called off, but I wish it had been for Theory's sake, because Theory gets all over Lashley, for about a minute, gets some heat, and then Lashley makes a big comeback. And Theory bails to the floor and gets his briefcase and goes to walk out, but Lashley blocks him in the aisle, is right there in front of him, beats him up some more on the floor. And every time Theory would start doing something, Lashley would fight back, hits him with a big power slam, goes for a spear. Theory leapfrogs over Lashley, who hits the turnbuckle. And Theory jumps out and goes for the rolling drop kick, and Lashley just catches him in a press and drops him into the hurt lock. And Theory taps instantly. And the point was made, I believe, by one of the announcers. Well, he knew he couldn't get out. He's saving himself for later. For later, he'd come out and got the shit kicked out of him again. But that's the thing. This was the shortest match. Maybe either this or Liv and Ronda. This seemed very short. Theory beat the hell out of the babyface with a metal briefcase, and the babyface came back to fucking handle him easily. Theory got little offense in the match, and what he did get was quickly shrugged off, and then he was tapped out in seconds by the babyface's fucking finish. And all of that might have been the old style way of making Lashley look good, and then Theory's going to come out and cash in and actually win the fucking belt. But spoiler, that didn't happen. So
did he officially cash in?
No. He didn't get
because he handed it to the referee, and then he got hit, and the referee took the case, but that's not cashing it in.
Well, no, because I think the announcer made the point. He was about to tell the referee he was cashing in, but he got blasted before he had the chance. But he may have cashed in his chips. He may be going to the big poker table in the sky. But yeah, so as a match, it was what it was. Lashley has needed rehabilitation since that embarrassing business with old Almost, but this is not the way to get a young guy like Theory over by, yes, he does have a cheesy grin, and yes, he does get that annoying, obnoxious heel heat, but you can't make him look like a completely ineffective, feckless individual at every turn physically when his shit looks so good and he's got the tools to be a star. What'd you think?
This was one of those matches, I can't explain it, and it may not be fair, but ever since Bobby Lashley turned back babyface, he's kind of lost anything that was special.
He's out there all by himself, isn't he?
It's not resonating with me. I've hated the way, and I've been vocal about it, I've hated the way they booked Theory for the last 3 weeks to a month. I kind of expected this to be the finish, because there's nothing that would have led you to believe that they would do anything else with the guy.